Welcome to BizTV's Beyond the Brand. I'm Kelli Phillips. Today, I'm joined by Tim Parmeter, co-host of the Franchising 360 show, seen right here on BizTV. Tim is the founder of FranCoach and specializes in helping entrepreneurs find their perfect fit in the world of franchising. Stay with us. We'll be right back with more of BizTV's Beyond the Brand. We often talk about the dream of business ownership, but how do you find the right opportunity? Well, our next guest is the ultimate guide for that journey. Please welcome Tim Parmeter, the founder and CEO of FranCoach. And Tim, let's go back. I want you to give us your background. Where'd you grow up? What was life like? And how did it kind of lead you to what you're doing today?
Well, thanks for having me on, Kelli. And I grew up in the Midwest, which and happily to not live there anymore, especially when we're in the winter months. But I grew up honestly from an athletic background. Went to college, played basketball. I coached for a while. My brain kind of works like that athlete and that educator. And then just probably about 11 years ago was working probably like a lot of people, had a job. I didn't really particularly enjoy the job, but they paid me, so I kept showing up. Until there was a big whole mess in the office and the whole place we worked got all shut down, and everybody that didn't commit the fraud in the office was left looking for something else. And I'd always wanted to kind of do something on my own, but I didn't know anything about it and really didn't know anything about franchising and just kind of stumbled into there's a thing called franchising, and then there's a way to help people find them. And my background in education and teaching and coaching really kind of lent itself to this, because all we really do is educate people on franchise ownership and kind of what it's all about. So it's a great, probably just dumb luck of how it all kind of came together with kind of a bad situation turned into really the best thing I've ever done in my life professionally.
So you ended up founding FranCoach, but was there a franchise in particular that you were drawn to, or was it the whole idea of franchising?
I think it's really that idea, right? Because there's so many people that think, gosh, I would love to work for myself. I'd love to own a business, but what am I going to start, right? Do I know anything well enough that I can, I'm a great plumber, so let me start a plumbing business, or I make this great sandwich, so let me start a sandwich shop. Most people kind of get stuck right there. Whereas the franchise is giving you the proven playbook. You just have to be the one that wants to be the leader and kind of execute that and still then have that opportunity to work for themselves. So I think it was just that concept. And then at first I'm like, I don't know anything about this. You hear franchising and you think, McDonald's and millions of bucks, and that rules pretty much everybody out. And then you kind of start learning about it and you're like, oh my gosh, this is so much more attainable than people realize. And as I was learning that, I'm like, this is actually the perfect thing for me, because I get to, again, kind of teach people. We work with smart, successful people, right? So teaching them something new and giving them an opportunity to kind of really kind of create a better life for themselves by working for themselves, but with that playbook the franchise provides.
So how can folks that perhaps want to be in franchising, how do they initially get into it? I mean, do they come to you first and see what the right fit is?
Well, clearly they should come to us first,
Absolutely.
Right? So it's, and honestly, a lot of times people don't even know there are guides like us out there, right? Like if we're going to buy a house, we know there are realtors, right? Mm-hmm. And we start thinking about looking at a franchise, people don't know. They're like, oh my gosh, there's somebody that can coach me and guide me along, right? So a lot of it kind of back to that education, we even exist. And then trying to kind of position the mindset a little bit different in the corporate world. Once you kind of get a job and you're in an industry, you can almost get stuck. And so you think that's the only thing you can do. Whereas with franchising, like the door is wide open for you to be in any single industry out there, which is exciting. Like, oh my gosh, I could do anything. And then it's also really overwhelming. Like, oh my gosh, how do I figure all of that out? And then that's kind of where we come into play.
So how do you help people figure out which franchise is best for them? I mean, you come from teaching background, so obviously you've got some skill there.
Yeah, no, well, I think it's twofold. It's one, there's just hundreds and hundreds of franchises, probably about 80 different industries that we have partnerships with. And so taking the time to get to know them, what they're all about, and how different they can be even when they're in the same industry. I think that's one of the things that would always blow people's mind is, two franchises that look the same to the consumer, they can be completely different. So knowing all of that. And so once we have that knowledge, we just kind of sit on that. And then it's really focusing on each person as an individual and helping them. It sounds cheesy, but kind of like what do they want to be when they grow up? What's that dream scenario if they owned a business? What are they good at? What do they want to do? And so it's really like, we'll go through probably 3, maybe 4 steps, getting to know that person in depth before we ever start going, okay, this is you. Now let's get you connected with maybe these 3 or 4 franchises to start learning. It's a pretty in-depth process and a lot of kind of rewiring of the corporate brain and just having people really be open to what's possible.
Do you ever have those people that think they want that sandwich shop, but in reality, they're a better fit for XYZ franchise?
Only maybe 99 out of 100 times, right? So it's like in some ways I'll kind of joke with people like, oh, I've always done this, therefore I need that. My passion is this, therefore I need that. And not we don't want to dismiss it, but it's kind of almost like, oh, that's cute. You think you know what you want, but what you're going to find is the best fit. Almost everybody we work with when they start a franchise, that franchise is in an industry they have little to no experience in. It's something that wasn't on their radar when we started talking. And oftentimes it's something they never even knew existed. Like that's a lot to absorb, right? And so, but that is kind of what happens. Of course, we still want to learn what it is about what they think they want at the beginning. And sometimes it really is the fit, but more times than not, it's just nowhere in the vicinity of it. Once we really try to figure out what they're looking for.
Can you give us an example of someone that you've worked with that applies to?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So again, probably almost everyone. So I'll give you a couple of random ones. We have this year had a dentist and had his own practice as a dentist that now owns a kind of a spa. And one of his real things from the dentistry was he realized once he got started, nobody was happy to come see him. Right. And I'm like, maybe there's somebody out there that's like, oh yeah, it's my every 6-month dental appointment. But at a spa, we're all pretty happy when we go there and when we leave. And then literally another medical professional was a internal medicine physician, whatever the heck that is. He owns a franchise that does fencing, right? And again, just completely different. And it's all kind of those intangibles that come along through this that they're really ultimately looking at. But it's like literally we could go story after story of our clients over the years, and you'll see industry they came from and industry that their franchise is in, and they're rarely even close to the same.
There have got to be some first time franchisees out there that make some mistakes. What are the top 3 mistakes for first time franchisees in your opinion?
Oh, really easy. So, and two of them are kind of silly, right? So, if you start a franchise and you decide you are smarter than the franchise and the plan that they have worked for years and decades to perfect, and you don't follow it, you're going to struggle. If you are lazy, and again, kind of silly, but if you're not going to put forth the effort that's required, it's not going to go well with it, right? So those are the 2 main ones. And the third one is, you are choosing a franchise for all the wrong reasons, right? Well, my cousin's brother's girlfriend's uncle owns this one and it's going really well. So therefore I should own it. Well, maybe, but maybe me and that person have nothing in common, right? And so if, again, you're the one that's got to get up out of bed every day and go run that franchise. So you really have to kind of hone in on what's best for you and kind of block out all of the noise of anybody friends, neighbors, family, the things that are on the internet, and really kind of be selfish as to what's best for you, right? If you find the fit, then honestly, follow the plan and put forth the effort. It's it's not that, I mean, it's not easy, but it's not that complicated to achieve the success you want because everything is laid out for you.
It's not like you're having to start a business. I mean, you are, but the plan has already been put in place and somebody else has already done that groundwork. So just listen would seem like the best advice for them.
Yes, and one of the things I like to tell people, our clients, when they're at that point, they've signed the franchise agreement, right? And again, we work with smart, successful people, and so I'll tell you, like, look, what I need you to do now is be dumb, and it kind of throws them off a little. What do you mean? I'm like, don't start thinking you are smarter than the franchise. Don't go, well, I'm going to listen to this and this, but not these things over here. Just put your head down and do what they say. Put forth the effort. Once you figure everything out, now you can put your little tweaks on the individual business down the road. But at the beginning, just be dumb and do what the heck they tell you to do.
Makes sense. Tim, we've got lots of other questions, so if you would stick around, and we'll be right back to talk more about franchising with Tim Parmeter. And we're back with the founder of FranCoach, Tim Parmeter. And Tim, let's talk a little bit about some success stories you have with folks who have gotten into franchising.
Oh, absolutely. And there are so many, so it's a little difficult to choose from that over the years. But I think one thing to think about is what will kind of surprise people is some of the happiest franchise owners in any system aren't necessarily the top performers, right? That they're hitting their goals with everything. But we had a gentleman in late 2019 came in and he started a franchise called Corporate Caterers. So I'll give you 3 guesses what Corporate Caterers kind of does. They do catering for corporations, and this was end of 2019. Well, if anybody can remember back to when 2020 was and how we didn't go anywhere. That was a big struggle for him. And he made some kind of strategic kind of partnerships that were still in the community where he could still keep his business rolling. And 6 years later, he's still trucking along. He still has the same territory and his business. Awesome. Right. And then the other side of that is kind of the growth potential. So really right around the same time was 2019, we had another guy started a franchise that does facility maintenance. And he started kind of small with this, and then ends up now he owns his entire state. About a year ago, he came back. That business is, 5 years in, it's running, it's doing really well. Frankly, he's like, I'm kind of bored. What's next? And so now he's built that from one unit into where he owns an entire state, which is pretty impressive. Now he's come back and now he's a multi-brand owner, right? So when you want to kind of build things, like you can kind of build it however big you want with this. And so now he's gone from one unit of one brand to multi-units of multi-brands. And will not surprise me if in a year or so he's back again, bored and looking for the next thing, because he's in control of what that ultimately is going to look like.
A lot of times I think people think, okay, if I'm going to get in on a franchise, the getting in cost is so astronomical, I can't do it. You are here to tell me that that is not always the case. Can you talk about some of those franchises that are low as far as getting into at first and how you can grow from there?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And really both of those examples were non-retail franchises. And I think, again, our mind goes to, when you think franchising, food is where I think almost everybody goes first, right? And you're thinking, again, the McDonald's and the Taco Bells of the world, and those are $1 million investments, and that rules most people out. Even the smaller brick and mortar things, there's a chunk of change, both out of your pocket and usually from a finance standpoint that you need. But there's hundreds and hundreds of things that don't require physical space, right? And so franchising, it's always kind of like buying a house. You usually need a little cash out of pocket. And then you get the loan. And so there are things that I would tell you, there might be a few things that are kind of under 100,000, but those are few and far between. But again, just hundreds of things that are going to be in that $100,000 to $200,000 total investment range, which doesn't really take a whole bunch of money out of pocket. There's funding options for this. And again, we work with all of that as well. But and believe it or not, sometimes the things that are, you would think that the more I invest, the more I make. Sometimes it's reverse of that, because the non-brick and mortar, there's very little, if any, overhead on physical space or things that you need. and there's no ceiling on how many people in your territory you can have as customers. So really, believe it or not, sometimes the less you invest, the more you can make and the easier it is to scale. And there's tons of opportunities like that.
Do you see any red flags in franchise offers?
No, not particularly. I think it goes back to the person, right? And so we talk a lot about, again, the need to be selfish and not get caught up in, well, this one's on this list that says it's really good, or I talked to this person in this franchise and they don't like it. Well, those seem like they might be important data points, but you got to really, again, figure out and understand what you want to do, even within the brand. What kind of support do you need? Where do you need that? How do you align with the people in that system? Because it really should be a partnership between you and the franchisor. And if you have zero alignment with them, that could easily be a red flag. If you have zero alignment with what you're supposed to be doing as an owner every day, but caught up in somebody else said it's really good, then that's honestly the biggest red flag right there. Because again, if it's not something you want to do every day, how much effort are you really going to put forward? And it's your business. You should enjoy it, right? And if it's something you just dread every day, man, like just keep your job. Don't spend your money in starting a franchise.
Yeah, life is not always about following the money. It's about finding the happiness in it. Something that makes us very happy is you have a show here on BizTV. Why don't you tell everybody about it?
Well, geez, thanks for asking. We do. I'm very fortunate to be in our second season of the Franchising 360 show with me and my amazingly talented and beautiful co-host, Danielle Wright, who's also my wife. And so, and giving me a dirty look right behind the camera as we speak. So it's been a blast to share our story of what we do. And she's been in franchising even longer than me. And then bringing some of our franchise partners, we've had some franchise owners, some suppliers, and just, again, trying to educate everybody what this crazy world of franchising really is all about. And getting to do it with the awesome people at BizTV is amazing as well.
So when does it air and how can folks find it?
Well, what a great question. 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on BizTV is the first airing. There's a couple others, one on Sunday. And again, if anybody's really so inclined, you can find it on the FranCoach YouTube channel, FranCoach for you, and just our website, which is francoach.net is there. But really, what better thing to do on Friday other than to tune into the Franchising 360 show on BizTV?
Now, if folks are really interested in franchising and opportunities that are there, and they want you and your wife to help coach them through it, how do they do that? Besides watching you on television, there's got to be a way where they can physically talk to you and get more information.
Yes, absolutely. And just go to the easiest thing is just go to our website, francoach.net, and reach out to us. And the other thing I want to make sure people know is, like, there's actually no fee for our service. So we're kind of like a recruiter in the corporate world. We get compensated by the franchisor. So we work for you and what's best in your best interest. And all it really takes is just some time to even learn to see if this might be a thing that's for you.
Going into 2026, what are the hottest franchises?
All of them. So there's definitely some trends. In fact, we talked on one of the Franchising 360 shows a little bit about this. There's some shiny object things, a lot of things in personal care. I think fitness, and again, especially in the first of the year, hey, we want to do better. I'm gonna get that gym membership, or I want to look better, feel better, whatever it is. The unsexy home services are always fantastic because they're things that are just, they're always going to be there. They're always needed, usually tend to be a little lower level investments for that as well. So there's over 4,000 franchise brands out there. So like there's always something for people. It's just more a matter of, is this really the right time for them to take that step?
Okay, not a trick question, but I do have to ask, especially since your wife is behind the camera, what's it like working with your wife day in and day out?
Well, she's right there. So my answer is going to be, it's amazing. It's a joy to be able to work with my better half all of the time with this. And, but no, it's cool that, hey, look, there are times that we have to like, okay, this is the no franchise hour for us for conversations, because they get so intertwined from just our work in franchising, what we do at FranCoach, the TV show. So it's cool to have a business partner, a life partner, a best friend that we all kind of speak the same language, and we get to be on the same path of kind of a professional and personal journey.
I'm in the same boat, so I agree with you wholeheartedly. Tim, we appreciate your time and best of luck, continued success on the Franchising 360 show. Again, you can see that right here on BizTV. Thanks for watching BizTV's Beyond the Brand. Be sure to subscribe to the BizTV YouTube channel, where you'll find full episodes of this show, fresh BizTV content, and a few surprises each week to help you stay inspired.